is honestly insane to me how hard it is to find a job in this job market, okay? Typically, it takes me 1, 2, 3 weeks max.
I'm a recruiter and I work in the life sciences industry. I posted a position yesterday on LinkedIn for a data scientist role. The role's remote. It filters out anyone that doesn't live in the US, has knockout questions for people just to make sure that they meet the qualifications for the role. So active applications, I log in today, over 600. Taking a look through all of the applications, every single person is qualified. I have to go through and reject over 600 people for a job that these people probably well deserve because our market is crashing. I've never seen anything like this in the 11 years that I've been recruiting. The job market is awful right now.
The job market is super tough right now, and this lady from the inside tells us how tough it really is. Especially for remote positions, you have hundreds if not thousands of applicants all fighting for this one job opening, and they all got great qualifications. So these companies, they have to reject most of these applicants without really a good reason, because again, all these applicants are technically qualified, if not overqualified. The only reason is just because there are not enough job openings right now for what they're looking for, and that there's way too many of them applying to the same role.
Okay, I just finished the career fair. It was my first ever in-person marketing event, and I don't really know how it went. I went in there and all the companies were doing a brief overview of, what they're looking for and stuff. And then we were able to walk around and talk to everyone and hand out resumes. And I did all those things, and I definitely met good people, I think, and people that I think I had a good connection with, and I added them on LinkedIn, and so I'm hoping those kind of go somewhere. I need this to go somewhere. In the last couple months, I have done probably 7 initial recruiter interviews and then 3 second round interviews. I did 1 final round interview, and then they ended up going with the other person. And then I have a couple more interviews coming up, and I'm just interviewing, and it is just so mentally exhausting to be doing all of that and feeling like you're not getting anywhere and feeling like what you have to offer is not good enough. I'm at the point where I just want to give up, and I know I obviously can't do that, but I am so mentally and emotionally exhausted from talking to recruiters and reaching out to recruiters and doing all the things that I need to do. But anyway, I'm gonna go get some food and cry.
So there's something very serious I do need to talk about with everyone. I know we like to joke around, but this is something that has been really hurting me recently, and I have felt deeply saddened by it. And there's a word that people have just been throwing around, and it is not something to take lightly or to just say, but I'll tell you guys, it is the word. I don't want to hear it anymore. It really hurts my feelings. Unemployment 2025 is the way that I'm going. I don't want to hear this job word anymore. It honestly just makes me really upset and really sad. So I don't want to have to talk about this again or, share this again. I just don't want to see this word anymore. We are all unemployed 2025.
Job search update! I have received so many rejections email to the point where I know when I'm getting rejected. For example, if I applied or interviewed for a company, let's say Monday of this week, and I haven't heard anything back from them Friday of that week, chances that I'm getting rejected is probably the Sunday of that week or the Friday of next week. Today's a Friday. I already got 4 different rejections-ish. That's kind of low, I know, compared to you guys, but still. I have a vision that this Sunday I'm going to get more rejections. Which is totally okay because rejection is redirection, bitch. Have a great weekend.
With me to try and find a job. I've been a stay-at-home mom, but stuff happens and I can't stay at home anymore and I need to get a job. So I'm gonna go into restaurants and see if they're hiring. Obviously, I don't want to be a server forever, but that's just what it's gonna be for right now. I want to go back to school and become a nurse, but he's too little right now, my baby. I worked at Longhorn, so I'm gonna see if I can transfer. But I also want to look at other jobs just to see, I don't know, maybe switch it up. So I'm gonna go meet the managers at Longhorn first, and then I'm gonna go stop in and bring my resume at a few other places. I'm feeling nervous because I've never done that. I don't know, it's like embarrassing. Okay, so at Longhorn, they said that I could already be on the schedule for next week, so that's good. They put me down for bartending and serving, but they said it's a little slow, and I don't know. So I'm gonna go to another place, and then I'll let you guys know.
Okay, there's this new restaurant that I'm about to walk in and ask. I'm so scared. I don't know why. Do I just say like, hey, can I talk to the manager? I don't know. I'm so nervous, but I'm about to go in.
Okay, that was like a little nerve-wracking because it's like a bougie place. I filed an application. Like the manager like looked at me and he was like, okay, you can give her an application. It was just like scary, and they asked for like all these references and stuff. I don't know, scary. I'm gonna go to one more place. Okay, I just went to like 3 other places, and one took my application, one took my resume, and then the other 2 said they're not hiring, which sucks, but whatever. It's summer, so it's super slow, so I might just have to work at Longhorn for the meantime. I mean, I make good money there, but I need to figure out something else.
Hey, my name's Ashley, and I'm one of the tens of thousands of federal employees who were unjustly fired this weekend. And I want to tell you a little bit about how that happened and why, as the American people, we should be really worried about this. When you're hired on as a Fed, you go through something called the probationary period, which sounds like something negative, but really it's just the either 1 or 2 years after you were first hired, where you don't have the full like tenure or protections that other, senior career federal employees have. So if you're hired with a disability, which is also called Schedule A, as I was, your probationary period lasts for 2 years. So I was hired as a contractor to the NIH in March of 2022. I was hired on as a Fed in September of 2023, and now here we are in 2025, and I still have about 8 months left on my probationary period, if my math is correct. Now, this might sound really boring, but this is important, okay? So pay attention. The Trump administration has decided that in order to do a wide-scale reduction in force, they are going to just, without any regard for who the people are, what their positions are, or their seniority, whatever, any probationary employee that is still within their 1 to 2 year period is just fired. And that's what happened this weekend in the Department of Health and Human Services and its sister agencies like the National Institutes of Health, which is who I work for. Okay, so probationary employees fired. My colleagues and I all got the same form letter from an unknown HR account saying that we had been fired for performance issues, okay, which, as you can imagine, with no proof to back up performance issues and the exact same form letter sent to all employees, the performance issues really aren't the problem here. So obviously I'm upset, right? Like, I landed in Arizona to visit my grandmother and some other family members, and at 10 o'clock at night I was checking my work email to find this form, termination letter that was sent to everyone else in my position at the agency. So it sucks, right? Like, you don't want to lose your job. You don't want to be fired for political reasons. And there will be class action lawsuits to fight back against this. But that's not really what I'm worried about here. And this is why I want you to pay attention. The team that I worked for at the NIH is the team that directs all of the HIV funding for the entire National Institutes of Health. And HIV funding is what allows researchers to study how to find a cure, for example, or how to implement the treatments that are available so that people who either don't have health insurance or who are poor or who have disabilities or who are homeless are able to access HIV treatment in order to live happy, healthy lives. Okay, so people are just being indiscriminately fired from programs like this. There are also programs at the NIH that study cancer. If your mom got breast cancer last year, for example, the money that is going to these scientists who are employed by the federal government, these are the people who are doing the cancer research, trying to find a cure, trying to figure out the best way to support people who have cancer. Similarly, firefighters are sometimes federal employees. The National Forest Service are federal employees. The Federal Aviation Administration are federal employees who have been fired under this probationary issue, okay? You are worried about air traffic controllers not having enough people to staff the control towers, and we're having more plane crashes these days. Like, these are people who are being indiscriminately fired. And often the folks who are on probationary periods are the ones who are the most energized. They just got out of their PhD program, for example. They're excited to start. They've committed themselves to a lower paying career in the federal service in order to serve the American people. So these are the people who are being fired. Now, if that doesn't worry you, that stuff is fine with you. You want to see the government cut waste or whatever they're saying their excuses. That's fine. But if you care about the programs that help people in this country, often the people who have the least amount of resources, this should worry you. Federal employees are not evil bureaucrats that are trying to take American taxpayers. We are the people who are taking lower paying jobs on purpose in order to make sure that the social programs we have in place in this country are carried out. So if you'd like to learn more, leave a comment. I'm happy to make more videos on this issue, but I want people to know what's really going on.
Oof. Today's been a rough day. So if you had a rough day, I stand with you. I have been unemployed since the beginning of the year, and I have probably applied for I'm not even kidding, at least 500 jobs. The amount of applying and just working so hard just to get a rejection has just been so debilitating. And as someone who built a career, it's you're what am I doing wrong? What is happening? But the market is just so tough right now, and it's pretty tough to stay positive. I work in marketing. I absolutely love it. I built a career in it, and specifically an influencer and social have I been the most involved the last few years. I picked up a UGC role for a company. I'll actually be posting for it on here, which I'm excited to do in the next few weeks. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna lean more into posting on here, because I'm I don't know what else to do. I'm just I feel like I'm working so hard and I'm not getting any results, so maybe I gotta lean more into this. Anyway, if you're struggling, then know that you're not alone. Love y'all.
I got fired from my 9 to 5 last week, and I'm not getting another job. I know this might sound absolutely crazy, because it does, and I don't care. I decided that the things that I've been putting on the back burner, the life that I want for myself, it doesn't look like where I've been for the last 10 years. And I kind of want to explore those options a little bit more. I literally hate being at a red light and recording because people can stare at me. But I record this video to say that I know that there's probably a lot of people out there who's either in the position that I'm in right now or is sitting at a 9 to 5 that they want to quit but are too scared to. Sometimes I think about this situation and I think that it could have been a blessing, because then it's giving me the time and the freedom to kind of explore other options. And I know what you're thinking. I must have a whole bunch of money saved up, or I live at home, and that's not true. I live in a completely different state than any of my family. I don't share any of my bills. Everything is literally on me, and I don't have a savings account. But that is partially why I want to do this. It's because of the fact that no matter how much I worked, no matter how much I did, I was just getting by. So I say that to say that I want something better, and if that means that I have to create it, then I will. And yeah, if you're interested and you want to come along with me for the journey, then follow me and we'll see where this takes us.
Hey TikTok, it's been 22 days since I got laid off from my tech job. Fun Employment is doing well. I'm actually feeling so much better this week. I've talked to 2 career coaches and they were super helpful in helping me organize my thoughts and then creating a plan of action for when I'm ready to jump into job searching. I also had a call today with someone I met on LinkedIn who was giving away free resume review. I think overall the call went really well. He had some great tips and suggestions for my resume. He also took a look at my LinkedIn profile and gave me feedback there, which was really, really nice. He does come from a marketing background, and so a lot of his approaches is very marketing-esque. He was talking about building my personal brand and was commenting about how much connections I have on LinkedIn. And he was like, you only have 296 connections on LinkedIn. And he's like, we need to bump that up. And I was like, okay. Some of his approaches, I don't know, doesn't really align with me. So maybe I can just like disregard that. I've also been feeling a bit of like love and hate relationship with LinkedIn right now, because it's so, if you go in there, it's kind of like doom and gloom. So I've been trying to avoid going in there in the last 2 weeks because I'm in resting mode. I feel like LinkedIn is a professional Facebook, and I still don't know how I feel about it. I definitely think there's pros and cons, but like what the guy was telling me is like I have to create noise for myself and create my personal brand. I'm just trying to find work that pays me money so I can pay my bills. Anyone with me on this?
And just like that, we're back. Welcome to the week 57 recap of Life After Layoff, a series that started off as my journey to reemployment, but at this point, last summer I was laid off from my corporate job as a senior copywriter, and here are the stats for week 57, which is August 3rd to August 9th. Didn't feel like I did a lot this week, but according to the numbers, I submitted 7 applications, which I guess on average, 1 a day is not so bad. Truth is, I'm tired, and the options are few. And I guess it was a pretty slow week for everyone, as the number of responses or rejections that I received was 3. One of which was from Nutrafol, which I shared 2 weeks ago. I was kind of excited about applying for, but I guess not this time. Still have heard nothing from the recruiter that hit me up on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and I do not expect to. I wish I had more to say, to be honest, but this pretty much wraps up week 57. If you're interested in following along this journey, come back next Monday where I will have a week 58 recap of Life After Layoff, where I'm going to precisely tally up exactly how many applications I've submitted thus far. I would argue that it's well over 200.
The hardest part about unemployment, especially extended unemployment, whether you were impacted by layoffs or you were fired or whatever it may be, the hardest part is continuing to have the energy to show up for yourself in an environment, in a job market where the narrative is constantly telling you that you spending all this energy showing up for yourself is not adding up to anything. It's not working. And I can't tell you like how much energy it takes for me mentally every day to be doing the same thing over and over again, to constantly like be getting my hopes up and then not getting the job, or getting ghosted, or spending all this time doing these take-home assignments and then not hearing back or whatever. It is such an exhausting job market, but I don't have a choice. I have to continue to wake up. I have to take care of myself, or to the best of my ability. I have to go through all these motions day in and day out. I have to constantly change my approach because maybe I'm not doing things right. Maybe everything they're telling me to do is not what I'm supposed to be doing, and maybe I should switch it up because whatever they've been telling me to do, it's not. It's been months and I still haven't landed anything. So I have to change my approach. That constant code switching, that constant like need to feel like you're not doing it right because this job market is terrible and it's just constantly like hitting at your ego. That is what is so fucking hard about unemployment. You are just constantly putting in so much effort every day, not only to job search, but just to function as a human being. Probably more so than you were doing when you had a full-time job, because this type of work is rooted in a lot of anxiety and uncertainty, which is just can be a lot harder to manage. And then you start to question yourself, like, is it me? Are all these rejections coming because like I'm stupid? What am I doing wrong? Like, what is wrong with me? And then you internalize it. You internalize these rejections. You internalize all of this negative energy that you're constantly facing every single day. And then you tell yourself, you convince yourself that it is a reflection of yourself. And doing that every single day, several times a day, it's not good for the mental health. It's really not good. But again, we don't really have a choice. We have to wake up the next day. We have to continue to show up because we can't be unemployed forever. We cannot collect unemployment forever. But again, it just makes it so much harder because it's rooted in just so much anxiety and negativity and toxic thoughts about yourself that you're getting reminded of like consistently. Like, I am 32 years old. I have 10 years of professional experience. I have my master's from Georgetown. And I don't say that to brag. I feel like I could go on a whole tangent about higher education and how I think it's more valuable to have like real life work experience than a bachelor's degree, whatever. Doesn't matter. I have all these credentials, right, that to society are seemingly impressive. I even know a girl who like won a Forbes under 30 under 30 award. And no, she didn't pay for it. She legitimately won it for the work that she's done in marketing. And even she got laid off. Like, and here I am, just like, again, 10 years into my career, being like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I'm sure there are some things I'm doing wrong. I'm sure I could clean up my interview answers. I'm sure my resume could be better, but you just don't know which variable you're not doing right. So you don't know like what to improve, or I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard to wake up every day, to show up for yourself, not just from like a job perspective, but just in general. Like, the world is fucked right now. The world is fucking fucked. Okay. And the economy sucks. The job market sucks. The world, again, society is just so fucked right now. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I have to get up. I have to show up. I have to put in all this unpaid labor into trying to figure out my next step, but I don't really know what my next step will be or when this chapter of my life will be over. And this is just constant in my brain, right? And that is what's so hard about unemployment. Showing up for yourself in a world that makes it really hard to do that. In a world that tells you what you're doing is not enough, even though you feel like you're putting in so much mental energy to do so.
So I just found out that I did not get the job that I was interviewing for. I made it around to the final interviews and everything, and they just decided to go with somebody else. It is what it is. And in full transparency, it was definitely a rush application, and it was going to be the easier route that I knew I was settling for. So like, there's something in me that's not even like mad I didn't get it. It's just kind of like, oh damn, I could have had the security and the comfort that I like wanted so badly. But it's okay. There's other jobs to apply for. There's other things to have, working in my favor. And I'm just gonna keep on moving forward. It's not gonna break me. It ain't gonna shake me. It just is what it is. It's just the nature of the world of work we're in. So I'm gonna keep on moving, keep on doing my thing. And that's it. Didn't get the job.
This job market and this economy is so different, and it's extremely hard. I'm noticing a couple things. I'm noticing that, one, if you have the experience and or if you have the degree in that particular job, you're still not getting a call back. I'm also noticing that a lot of jobs don't want to train. What happened to training? What happened to training someone for the position that you want to have fulfilled? If I have the experience and I have the degree to fulfill that position, you don't want to call me. If I don't have the experience, you don't want to call me. How do we expect for people to put into this economy? How do we expect people to get away from social media and content creating? Because you guys feel that's not a real job. How do you expect people to get a real job if you're not willing to train them? If you're not willing to give them the opportunity? If you're not willing to give them a job when they have the experience to do it? And let me clarify, because I'm not talking about the people that are applying for on-site positions, but you want to work from home. Of course, you're not going to get a call back. You want to work from home. They need somebody in the office. I'm not talking about the people that want to work Monday through Friday, but the job requires you to work on weekends. Of course, you're not going to get called back. I'm talking about the people who have everything on that application that is required. They have the ability to, yet they're still not getting called. People are not getting a call back to even set up an interview. Why are we not getting callbacks? And can we normalize jobs telling an applicant why they wasn't hired? Because that also would help. Yes, I know you can ask them, you can reach out and ask, but if you know why you didn't hire me, tell me. So that can let me know if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm putting something on my application that's not appealing. Let me know the reason that you decided not to hire me, because what I'm looking at is everything on your application that you have, I fit. I have the degree in that. I have the experience. Here are the jobs to show you that I have the experience in that field. I'm willing to work the hours that you're asking for. I'm willing to travel if it requires traveling. I'm willing to do those things. And I said yes on that application. Why am I not getting called? Dare I say, is it because of my race? Because I'm African American? Or is it because I'm a woman? Or does my name kind of throw you off? Because that's the real thing too. Why are people not getting called who really want to work?
It feels so embarrassing to admit, but I work for $17 an hour part-time in the customer service with a bachelor's degree. But I feel very grateful to have that because people can't get hired anywhere. Holy shit. And I'm trying to find a new job, and I got contacted about getting like a phone interview, and then we scheduled it, and I never got the call. And I emailed them back. I reached out, and I never got an email back. So that's how that's going. Do we all feel like we're cooked? Because that's what it's feeling like.
If you have a difficult time right now finding a job out of college, just stay positive and keep trying. Remember that the macro environment is not great right now with the uncertainty and overhiring during COVID. Now a lot of companies are shutting down in terms of hiring. So there's not that many job openings out there, and there's too many applicants with the same qualifications fighting for that same job. So the company's just gonna auto reject most people, and that's just the game. So don't feel bad about it and keep trying.